Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello learners, I'm happy to have you once again at the Manifested e-learning forum. In our today's lesson, I'm going to introduce a new topic which is known as citizenship. In this topic, we will study drugs and drug abuse. Under drugs and drug abuse, we look at the effects of drug and substance abuse. We also study the ways of curbing drugs and substance abuse. Another subtopic will be collective responsibility. We will study collective responsibility. So learners, welcome to the lesson known as citizenship, the topic citizenship. And we'll start by studying drugs and drug abuse. Drugs and drug abuse. Drugs and drug abuse. In our today's lesson, we will define a drug, we'll define drug abuse, then we will highlight some of the commonly abused drugs and substances. All right, that is what we intend to do in our today's lesson. Now, learners, a good citizen should show acceptable behavior. He or she should also work and be productive in the society. So a good citizen is one who shows acceptable behavior, is also the one who works hard, is the one who is productive in the society. And there are a number of things that may make a citizen to behave in an irresponsible manner. Okay? There are what? There are certain things that may make a citizen to behave in an irresponsible manner. And one of these things is the use or the misuse or the abuse of drugs. When a citizen abuses drugs, then that is irresponsible behavior. That shows behavior that is not acceptable. So what is the meaning of this word drug? Drug. A drug can either be a substance taken as medicine or a non-medicinal or illegal substance, which when taken changes the way the body works. So a drug can either be a substance taken as medicine, okay? A drug can either be a substance taken as either medicine or non-medicinal or illegal substance, or non-medicinal or illegal substance. A drug can either be one, a substance taken as either medicine or a non-medicinal or illegal substance, learners, which when taken does what? Changes the way the body functions or operates. When taken, changes the way the body functions or works. Because learners, the body was created to function in a certain way. But there are certain substances when we consume, they alter the way the body functions. When you take a substance and that substance affects the way the body operates, then we say that is, we call that a drug. So how about drug abuse? Drug, this is drug. I now want to define drug abuse. Drug abuse. Drug abuse. What's the meaning of drug abuse? Now, drug abuse refers to misuse or wrong use of drugs. Refers to misuse or wrong use of drugs. Misuse or wrong use of drugs. Drug abuse refers to misuse or wrong use of drugs. And that includes even these medicinal drugs. Even medicinal drugs, all right? Medicinal drugs, you are referring to the drugs that we take as medicine, okay? Medicinal drugs that are prescribed by a doctor can be harmful if they are misused or wrongly used. For example, when you take an overdose of some medicine, then we say you have used that medicine wrongly. Medicine has to be taken within certain dosage according to the doctor's instruction. So when you fail to follow doctor's instructions when taking drugs, then we say you are abusing drugs. So I've said, for example, when medicinal drugs are taken in overdose, then that is drug abuse. That is medicinal drugs. They can be harmful, like the painkillers or the antibiotics. These are medicinal drugs. And these are some of the drugs that are oftenly abused. Painkillers, antibiotics. So medicinal drugs can be abused, but we have also the non-medicinal drugs. Non-medicinal drugs. Non-medicinal drugs. Non-medicinal drugs are dangerous. And these drugs, the non-medicinal drugs, are used to give a false temporary feeling of pleasure or well-being or relaxation. They are also taken and they give a false bound less energy. Those who take non-medicinal drugs, they take these medicinal drugs so that they can have some feeling of pleasure, which we are calling false. Now, when some of these drugs are taken, these non-medicinal drugs are taken regularly. When non-medicinal drugs are taken regularly, they become addictive. And this means that after taking them, the user may not be able to do without them. Why? Because the body and the brain depend on the drugs in order to function. Okay, I'm talking about non-medicinal drugs. I've described the medicinal drugs, but you also have these non-medicinal drugs, which I've said are very dangerous, and they are used to give a false temporary feeling of pleasure or well-being or relaxation. And when some of these drugs and substances are taken regularly, when they are taken regularly, for example, every day, then they become addictive. They become addictive. They become addictive. And this means that after taking them, the user may not be able to function without them, because the brain and the body depend on the drugs in order to function. And I know you must have come across certain people in the society who have become addicted to these non-medicinal drugs like alcohol, marijuana, cigarettes, miraa, and so on. Those are non-medicinal drugs. They are very dangerous. So I'm going to list some of the commonly used drugs and substances, commonly abused drugs and substances. Commonly abused drugs and substances. Now, there are certain drugs, the commonly abused drugs and substances in society. Some of these drugs are used by criminals. The criminals add the drugs to food or drinks in order to make their victims unconscious before they steal from them. Then the victims may be forced to do what? To inhale some of these drugs. So the commonly used drugs in society are, I had mentioned earlier, alcohol, like beer. We have other traditional beer, lanas. B, we can mention nicotine. C, and nicotine are drugs like cigarettes, tobacco, tobacco. Then C, marijuana, marijuana, or what sometimes referred to as bang. Bang. It's also known as bang or cannabis. This one has many names. Cannabis may also be referred to as hemp. It's harvested from the hemp plant. Marijuana. Then another drug that is commonly abused is opium. Opium. Cocaine. Heroin. This is E, F, G. We have other drugs like mira, also known as hat. Other drugs include kuber, G-H-I. Another drug is known as caffeine. Caffeine is a commonly abused drug. We have inhalants, G-H-I-J, inhalants. These are drugs that are inhaled. For example, petrol. There are those who inhale glue and so on. So these are the commonly abused drugs, learners. We have alcohol, nicotine, marijuana, opium, cocaine, heroin, mira, kuber, caffeine, and inhalants such as glue, such as petrol. So that will mark the end of our today's lesson, where we introduce the topic citizenship. I say that under citizenship, we will study drugs and drug abuse and also collective responsibility. In our today's lesson, we've defined drug abuse, then we've highlighted the commonly abused drugs and substances. Now, I'm going to give you an assignment, practice or revision question. Question number 1, define A, drug, B, drug abuse. Question 2, state 7 commonly abused drugs and substances. Thank you for choosing to study with us. I'll hope to meet you in our next lesson. Bye-bye.